Welcome to this explainer. As experts in commercial space management, we see it all the time. What looks absolutely gorgeous on day one usually tells a drastically different story by year 5. Today, we're definitively unpacking the hidden operational failures of traditional wall coverings, and we're exploring a massive architectural paradigm shift that's rapidly taking over the industry: direct-to-wall printing. Let's jump right in. So we really need to ask ourselves a fundamental question, and honestly, this is what separates true industry leaders from the rest. As facilities managers, procurement directors, and design architects, are we truly budgeting for the total life cycle of our commercial spaces? Or are we just buying an initial aesthetic band-aid that's inevitably going to bleed resources down the line?
Okay, let's get into the reality of traditional vinyl and PVC-based wallpapers. They carry these massive shadow costs. We're talking about forcing your perfectly occupied, busy buildings to endure 3 to 7 days of installation downtime. Then there's the unavoidable emission of VOCs, volatile organic compounds, into your air. And, of course, that inevitable edge peeling within 5 to 7 years. Oh, and that's all before you even factor in the constant headaches of supply chain delays for printed rolls. It's a lot.
Let's start by exposing the systemic, hidden environmental and financial costs of these standard applications. It's kind of the industry's dirty little unrecyclable secret. Just look at this single glaring data point: 100%. Over a standard 30-year lease, a 10,000 square foot office tower is going to cycle through multiple vinyl applications, and when teardown time comes, every single ounce of that material, including the chemical adhesive backing, goes straight into our landfills. It is completely 100% unrecyclable. So you aren't just paying for a graphic, you're literally paying to generate hundreds of pounds of permanent waste.
And consider the operational side of things. As the saying goes, installation disruption is the shadow cost nobody budgets for. Beyond the environmental waste, the operational disruption of vinyl is just a massive logistical burden. Think about a busy hospital or a packed school. You're dealing with days of blocking off walls, tweaking your HVAC systems to handle humidity and odors, and just waiting around for toxic adhesives to cure. In an occupied building, your time and your clean air are your absolute most precious commodities.
Which brings us to a much-needed substrate bonding paradigm shift. Because look, the solution isn't trying to invent a slightly better glue. The solution is eliminating the adhesive entirely through a complete overhaul in how we treat commercial walls.
The crucial concept to grasp here is substrate bonding. Direct-to-wall printing relies on completely different chemistry. It means high-resolution ink is applied directly to your existing surface, and it chemically cures to the material itself. There's no intermediate vinyl, there's zero glue. The ink becomes a permanent integral part of the drywall, the concrete, or the brick. It's practically like a tattoo for your building.
When we do a stark side-by-side comparison, direct-to-wall technology just vastly outperforms vinyl across the board. I mean, you're jumping from a flimsy 5 to 7 year lifespan to a robust 10 to 15 plus years. You're slashing installation from days down to under 5 hours. And critically, you're dropping your end-of-life waste from 100% all the way down to absolute zero.
Now, let's talk dollars and cents, because as experts evaluating multi-decade leases, the math here is incredibly straightforward. While a direct-to-wall mural might require a higher initial investment for, say, a 1,000 square foot space, maybe 8 to 15 grand versus 4 to 8 grand for vinyl, it completely zeroes out your replacements. Over a 30-year lease, vinyl requires 2 to 3 total replacements, plus those really high removal labor costs. Direct-to-wall, it turns a compounding, unpredictable expense into one single fixed initial investment. So, how does this fix procurement delays? Well, let's look at how this technology expertly solves that logistical chess game of multi-location rollouts and those super strict procurement windows. 5 hours. Seriously, this number changes everything for facility managers. Because we print directly on site with mobile equipment, a typical 800 square foot premium mural goes from a blank, boring wall to fully cured and functional in under 5 hours. Let's break down exactly what those 5 hours look like on the ground. At 0 minutes, the mobile platform arrives and assesses the wall. By 45 minutes, all your surface prep, light cleaning, and sanding are totally done. By hour 3, the actual printing concludes. And by hour 5, it is chemically cured and ready for high traffic. By ditching off-site prefabrication, stripping away shipping delays, and completely bypassing multi-step adhesive curing, we drastically shrink your disruption footprint down to just a single morning. But, speed means absolutely nothing if it doesn't last. The ultimate test of any commercial wall covering is how it survives in relentless, high-traffic spaces like hospitals, schools, and retail.
Because the finish is chemically bonded rather than superficially slapped on with glue. It survives daily, heavy-duty impacts. It's completely immune to that annoying edge peeling and bubbling that always plagues vinyl. It actively resists aggressive scuffs from hospital gurneys and heavy equipment carts. It's totally safe for the frequent damp cloth cleaning you need in institutional settings. And, as a really cool bonus, it allows for integrated wayfinding that replaces those easily damaged plastic signs bolted to your walls. Consider this real-world application: 3,000 pounds. In one incredibly successful case study, a Mid-Atlantic health system used this direct-to-wall technology to completely upgrade their wayfinding across 6 major hospitals. By doing so, they successfully eliminated over 3,000 pounds of unavoidable vinyl waste that would have inevitably piled up over their standard replacement cycles.
And the benefits go beyond just the wall graphic itself. By printing directional maps, room numbering, and safety guidelines directly into the architecture as part of cohesive murals, a 10-campus university actually reduced their physical signage clutter by a massive 40%. Visitors navigate easier, and facilities teams have drastically fewer plastic signs to clean, repair, or replace. It's a total win-win. Now, we have to think about the long game. How does this technology adapt when your brand or your tenant inevitably evolves over the years? Let's talk about designing for change. One of the most powerful and, frankly, underestimated advantages of direct-to-wall printing is its exit strategy. When you're ready for a change, your facilities team simply rolls a fresh coat of standard interior paint right over the cured graphic. That's literally it. You return to a blank canvas instantly. No chemical solvents needed to melt away stubborn glue, and absolutely no wall patching required because you never tore off a layer of drywall paper. As the quote perfectly puts it, it's not something applied to the wall, it becomes part of the wall. This inherent flexibility ensures your graphics serve their purpose brilliantly while they're relevant, and then they just exit cleanly and quietly without ever damaging your foundational real estate. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice and start treating our walls as dynamic, sustainable canvases? To successfully transition away from outdated, wasteful wall coverings, procurement teams need a highly structured execution plan. First, assess. Audit your existing wall materials, conditions, and environmental factors. Second, define. Establish the scope and your strict operational timelines. Third, develop. Collaboratively create digital, cloud-based proofs so no physical materials are wasted during revisions. And finally, execute. Deploy the mobile printers for rapid, on-site, zero-waste application. This shifts your entire approach from simply buying a disposable product to investing in a strategic, permanent architectural upgrade. Which leaves us with this final, critical thought. The question is no longer whether direct-to-wall printing is superior. I mean, the data clearly proves that it is. The real question is, how much longer can your organization afford the shadow costs, the disruption, and the massive environmental waste of traditional vinyl? Are you ready to stop renting temporary graphics from the landfill and start truly owning your architectural canvas? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to look at your walls a little differently today.